All right, now we're recording. As I was saying, we had the break out of this downward triangle and it came back and retested. So now the bullish sign I'd be looking for is a bullish engulfing back up to this zone. It'll probably do a 38.2 retracement from there and then on to the next zone. If you're not already in XRP, it's a pretty good time to get in. If you want to play it extra safe, wait for that bullish engulfing candle that I was telling you guys about. You'll want a 4-hour bullish engulfing. So bullish engulfing meaning a green candle that engulfs or is larger than this last red candle. All right, let's take a look at Bitcoin. So this did exactly what we thought it was going to do. I love when that happens. So it rejected out of the zone. Arrow had it pulling back. We got the pullback, and now we are on our way. So I think that this path is still pretty realistic. Let me get rid of some of these arrows. I got to get in the habit of deleting some of my drawing tools because it tells me that I have too many. It's possible that we see this come down and test this trend line one more time before continuing on. But either way, I think that we're in the clear. We got that rejection off of the zone, and then it came down, found support, and is now looking, moon mode. I think that that is a good look for BTC. One other thing that I want to point out, it's kind of cool. Oh dear. I need to figure out, there's a way to limit the tools to one time, but I don't feel like figuring that out right now. Let's go to Bitstamp. There you go. This is pretty crazy. This is called a long-legged doji, and it is a very bullish sign. Came down and did a 6-1 retracement on that tank. But this candle in particular is what we refer to as a long-legged doji. And that is a very good sign. That's a very bullish sign. So I, for one, am optimistic for let's see. I think we're going to see at least 30,000 on this recovery. At least. It's probably going to be closer to 40 or 50,000 if this follows suit. And I don't think anyone here is going to complain about that. So, as you guys know, I am more of an altcoin trader. Not so much, I don't really trade Bitcoin. This is Bitcoin right here. And I don't normally trade Bitcoin. I have a little bit of Bitcoin that I'm just holding on an external wallet that I'm never going to touch. But in general, I don't really trade it. But the good news for us altcoin traders is that when Bitcoin surges like this, altcoins tend to follow. Now, I do think that during this recovery, excuse me, I'm getting over sickness, but I do think that during this recovery, it's possible that we may see some of the lesser known altcoins bleed out. They've been a lot of these alts have really been struggling. And some of the lesser coins, I think, are not going to be around later this year. I think that we're going to start to see them bleed out and the competition kind of not lessen, but instead of having 3,000 different coins, we may see that number cut in half this year as some of the scam projects. Yes, Greg, I am. Can everybody else hear me? As some of the scam projects start to bleed out, so that's just something to think about. But all of the coins that I invest in, and all the ones that I call trades in, I don't. Even if there's a good technical opportunity, a good technical opportunity that could provide a good return, I don't invest in coins that I don't believe in the project, and I don't call trades on coins that I don't believe in the project. So just rest assured that anything that I call, I have long-term belief in. I'm going to post this because I like this screenshot here. Where was I? Let me go back to my Coinbase chart. What was that, on the 4 hour? Yeah, there we go. All right, so I always start with Bitcoin because everyone always wants to see Bitcoin. What do you guys want to see next? Altcoins are you guys curious about looking at today? Cardano continuing to fall. It's a little bit surprising. So really we're just waiting for the break of this a little bit surprised that Cardano is still falling, actually, but it looks like we've found support. So this whole thing is technically a support zone. I just don't like to draw it that big because it's a little bit excessive. But it looks like we have found support at the at the bottom of this zone. The major support technically comes all the way down to 2,500 Satoshi. It is this entire area here. So I had the support drawn at the very top of it because I thought it was going to find a floor there, but the fact that it seems to have, you can see that that's a pretty clean, we're on the 4 hour. That right there is a reversal sign. So at least we did hit the very bottom of this zone, and we hit the bottom of the zone and it looks like it's reversing now. So hopefully that will be the end of the bloodshed for Cardano. Let me see if there's anything else. Let's see if it's at a retracement level. So pull it from the bottom to the top. Oh, it looks like I already had. Or no, I didn't. Let's get rid of that. So from the very bottom of that big move, there is a 78.6 retracement. I'll pull this out farther. So there is a 78.6 retracement right here, so it is possible that it could come. Maybe it's aiming to come down to that for some reason. And if so, I would not panic until it drops below this level. Well, I tend not to recommend not panicking ever, but if you're going to panic, don't do it until it drops below that level. Yeah, I mean, I still have a lot of ADA that I'm holding. I'm not all that worried. I think that it's a solid project. Let me see. If you're holding ADA, I would just continue to hold it. I'm a little surprised we didn't catch support way up here where we last discussed it, but we didn't. So now it's just kind of fallen into this downtrend. Let me see. That's not what I want. Where is it? Oh, there it is. Just kind of fallen into that downward channel there. So really we're just waiting for it to pop out of this channel, and then once it does, it's going to be smooth sailing. Now, it is possible, like I said, that it comes down and hits the 78.6, so that's going to be 2,300 Satoshi-ish range. If you can get a buy there, I would get a buy there. If you want to buy now, like you said, I mean, ADA is one of my long-term, I'd say I have 5. If I had to, I could probably cut back my 50 coin portfolio to 5 that I really believe in for the long term, and ADA would be one of them. So whether you want to pick up some now or pick up some at the 78.6, I'd have to really think about it. I just kind of threw that number out arbitrarily. If I had to pick 5, I think I could pick 5. But ADA would be in the top 5. Oh, excuse me. Damn flu or something. So yeah, that's what I'm thinking for ADA. It looks like it's found a floor at the bottom of this support zone. Technically, it could come. I could see it potentially coming down and hitting that 78.6 zone. That's not very much travel from here. We're talking less than 10% to get there, so wouldn't surprise me. So if you guys want to wait another 10% on ADA, I think there's a good chance we'll find a floor at the 78.6 if it's not now. What you want to watch for is for this. So even if we have a little bull run here to the top of the trend line, keep this trend line in mind and treat this trend line as resistance. So when it comes here, if it doesn't break through, you see a bearish engulfing candle in this area, then that's a pretty solid forecast that's going to drop back down to the 78.6. So just keep that in mind while you're charting. Someone said XLM. Didn't respect this box either. So we had ADA consolidated in this box. It broke out to the bottom, or I'm sorry, XLM. To the question about the circulating supply, really just depends on how their coin economics are set up. If they have it set up to allow for burning, then probably. If it's a fixed supply and it's a finite supply, then they won't be able to unless they fork. So I'd have to look at, I don't remember exactly how ADA has theirs set up. Okay. It's dropped a little bit lower than I was expecting to. But it is at 38.2 right now. It did break structure on that last run, so that's a good sign. So it's at 38.2. I'd be looking for, it's probably gonna, hopefully, we need it to jump back into this ascending trend right here. You can see we have this pretty significant trend line here. What we really need is to see this bullish breakout that we had here. Catch support at the 38.2. This right here is considered a that right there is considered a test of the zone. So it's now pulling back. It's probably going to catch. Been waiting for it to go lower than 2,300. I'd be pretty surprised if it went that low, but I have been surprised an awful lot lately. That is a support zone. Below 2,300, I think might be a stretch. I think if it's going to drop, it may drop down to this area. But I don't know, because we already caught support at, this is also a support zone that it caught. So I'm thinking that's probably it for XLM. I don't necessarily think it's going to drop much lower than that. If it does, this is technically all support right here because of the way that this area behaved. Let's see, technically all support. Yeah, that's kind of my thoughts for XLM. Only other thing that I can see is that we do have, only other thing worth noting is that we do have a trend line here that you're going to want to keep in mind. Let me get rid of these. I don't think these are super relevant anymore. Well, that one kind of is. I'll keep that one. I don't really care about that one anymore. This one's relevant. Except this is going to be a trading, this is going to be what now? Resistance. This can be red. Are you guys catching on to how I do my colors? Pretty sure I've talked about it enough times. The red and the orange can kind of be hard to see, especially on this dark background. But so the blue is support down here. This red trend line is resistance. This orange one right here is that? Yeah, that's orange, right? I hope. Yeah. Okay, so now that I have a better look at this, hopefully we'll see this breakthrough. Retest. Now it's also possible that this comes up. I'm trying to see. That may be a stretch for it to go that vertical. In which case, if it does, it's probably going to be a longer path. It's probably going to look something like that. And then we're going to have a newly established trend line here. Now I'm going to make this, I don't usually draw imaginary trend lines, so I'm going to make this dotted, meaning that it's hypothetical. All right, so that's my look at XLM for who asked. Let me make this a little bit bigger. What next, my friends? Oh, someone said more up there. ENJ. Scott said ENJ. Snow, I'm going to wait on because that's not on TradingView. I can do ENJ though. All right, let's get rid of all this. It's been a while since we've looked at ENJ. Well, this support zone has stayed pretty firm. We're at the bottom of the support there. This is a very strong trend line that did not exist before. Let's pull it from here. No, let's pull it from here. Sorry guys, give me a second, let me think. There we go. I don't care about these anymore. Oh, whoops. Don't care about that anymore. We'll do a pretty much clean markup here. All right. So this broke out to the downside, not super exciting news. This whole thing is pretty much support. I hate when that happens because it makes it really difficult to know when it's going to turn around when there's such drastic dips. But I'm not seeing a lot of technical support for it right this second. Only thing I can see is that there is a trend right there too. So it looks like it may have caught support at this trend line. This one is going to stay resistance. If we pull Fibonacci from this, it's at the 78.6. Sorry guys, I'm thinking. So there's a Fibonacci level down here, the 61.8 of the big move. Hopefully it doesn't go down that far because it's going to break just about every piece of structure that there is. At the moment, we're still basically consolidated. As long as we stay above this zone, I'm considering that a sideways movement. So I wouldn't panic on the ENJ. I kind of just need to see how it reacts to this trend line to know what's going on. Looks so far like it is catching support at this trend line. And if that's the case, then I would look for it to come up and probably consolidate into this zone, break out. What we really want to see is for it to establish an upward channel here. That's kind of what I'm looking for. I don't think it's going to move up super steep, but if we catch support and we play along this channel, then that would be a good sign for it. I think that's pretty realistic. Let's take a look at our good friend Tron. You guys already know what I'm going to say about Tron. Last time we looked at it, it broke out of this triangle. It's just been sideways moving since. We have a new trend line here. It's not super pretty, but it's something to keep in mind. Yeah, but another thing to keep in mind is that if it does continue to make these triangle patterns, eventually, if they keep getting smaller, which it has been, right? I mean, we've had this big one. The thing about triangle patterns is that when they're back to back to back, eventually it breaks out and makes a really big one. This was a steep one. So if it's going to continue to make smaller triangles, it may make another smaller one here. Certainly possible. But eventually, big, smaller, smaller, smaller. Eventually it's going to shoot back up. They don't just indefinitely get smaller. Oh, I can't see anything there. It feels like a lot of market manipulation, that it keeps having these spikes and then retracements back down 100% and then catching support and then going back up. That feels like whales playing, but so for that reason, I'm just kind of waiting on TRX because I know that it's going to go back up at some point. It's going to have another big bullish run at some point. Don't know exactly when that's going to be, but I'm confident that it's coming. So I'm just trying to stay patient with it. I know it's not always, it's sometimes easier said than done, but I like to try to stay positive. It is at a retracement level. This is like the strongest support in the history of crypto, though, right here. So, if nothing else, I'm pretty confident it's not going to fall through that. Good old TRX, the bane of my existence. We sure can. All right, so I'm sure that you guys can tell me why it's continuing down. drag this. That is a pretty aggressive downward channel. Believe it or not, that's good news though. Makes it way easier for the bugger to break out. So that is the downward channel that we're in with Poe. You can see that the triangle pattern, all these charts look the same. It's really obnoxious actually. Good news for my Poe peeps. You can see that the triangle pattern completes pretty soon here. Technically right there. So hopefully we're going to get a break and retest soon and see it run. This right here is going to be an area to look for. If you didn't buy on the call, it's a good time right now in my opinion. Let me finish marking it up though. So it could continue in this channel. I'm kind of just waiting to see what happens here. But I think a breakout at the bottom of this channel is pretty probable. Or I'm sorry, the bottom of this triangle right there. Yeah, I'm kind of getting used to it, pal. The colors contrast pretty crazy. Gives me a little bit of a brain attack. I don't even know. But trying to get used to it. Some people are saying that the charts are easier to read when they're black for when I post them and stuff, so I'll give it a shot. It's kind of neon electric-esque. George, I would wait for, if you want to play it really safe and have, or I'm sorry, Greg, not George. If you want to play it really safe, I would wait for it to break out of this triangle because there's a chance that it could continue on down this way in the channel. I don't think so, but it's possible. Wait for it to break this trend line right here. And then either wait for a bullish sign out of this trend line or wait for it to break and retest and then get in on the retest. And I bet it'll make another run. Let's pull Fibonacci on the big move to try to get a better idea of where it might be headed. Yeah, if you want to set a limit purchase, actually, if you guys would like me to start making calls for limit orders, I could do that too. If that would be better for some of your guys' schedule, if I just tell you, hey, set a limit order for this price. Yeah, I can work on doing that. I don't typically set limit orders for myself, but I can work on it for you guys. The tricky part is that the Satoshi value can be manipulated so easily. That's the only thing you can set limit orders for. But yeah, let's give it a try and see how it goes. So the 78.6 retracement of this big move is only less than 10% away, so I think it'll probably hit that, considering we don't really have any reason to think that it's turning around yet. So let me revise this to say it's probably going to come down and touch the 78.6. And then that's what I'm looking for. Make sense? So limit order. Let's set it a little bit high just to be safe. Let's set the limit order at Let's set the limit order at 430 Satoshi. Yeah, let's do that. So set the limit order for 430 Satoshi. If you happen to notice that it finds a floor at the bottom of this triangle, which is also possible, wait for it to break out and then retest back at the 460 area and just go ahead and get in there. It's at 462 right now. But if it breaks out of this downward trend, it'll probably retest the same level. So set a pending order for 430, buy up to 460. It's probably what I would do. And we'll see how that goes. Oh, that is a long message. 1 second. Okay, you mentioned BTC doing so it's kind of a double-edged sword, because when Bitcoin rises very quickly, inherently altcoins drop in value because the Satoshi value goes down. So let me try to rephrase that. Actually, the US dollar value of the altcoin doesn't necessarily drop, but the Satoshi value drops. You can actually lose 100 Satoshi in your price because of the rise in Bitcoin, and the US dollar value stay the exact same. But a lot of people don't really understand the relationship between altcoins being traded with a Bitcoin base currency and the way that the very, very volatile price of Bitcoin affects the charting of altcoins. And so it causes a lot of people to panic. So what I mean when Bitcoin, so you would think that when Bitcoin runs, altcoins would go down. But we haven't really seen that inverse relationship demonstrate recently, because there's a lot of psychology that gets meddled with it. When Bitcoin starts tanking, everyone thinks that the crypto industry as a whole is crashing. And so they panic sell their altcoins, even though the Satoshi value is rising. So it's kind of messy. But bottom line, typically the sentiment of the situation outweighs the technicals of it in the crypto industry. So when Bitcoin continues to rise, now you have everyone saying, oh, Bitcoin's going crazy. We got to buy all of these cheaper altcoins because I can't afford Bitcoin. And so they try to scoop up all of these cheap altcoins, and that drives the price up. So the past year, well, I've been trading for 6 years now, but the past year in particular, we've noticed a kind of hard to explain, unexpected correlation between Bitcoin running and altcoins running, when technically it should be an inverse reaction. So if Bitcoin gets another bull run, I do expect altcoins to go crazy too and run up. So I personally have a very small amount of Bitcoin. I invest the majority in coins that are not even in the top 5. And that's because I'm trying to catch the next one, like Verge that I caught. I'm trying to catch those, the ones that are about to make 50,000% moves. So I do a lot of research into what altcoins I like, and I find good technical entries for those, and I just kind of wait. And I've made a lot of money with this method. So keeping your coin, your current BTC funds in alts is good, in my opinion. If you want to set aside a small amount of Bitcoin to have just in Bitcoin, then just set it aside in a cold wallet or something like that you're not going to touch again, and forget about it and for the next 20 years and see what it's worth, because Bitcoin has a finite amount. It's a deflationary currency, meaning that there is going to come the day when no more are being mined. And when that happens, the people that have even one Bitcoin, I mean, it could very realistically be worth $1 million per Bitcoin. So I recommend just having, a small amount, even half a Bitcoin, an eighth of a Bitcoin, whatever, and just hold it. And you never know, that could be worth a couple $100,000 in a couple years, in 20, 30 years. I think that they are estimating that the last Bitcoin will be mined in 2040. So that's another 20 years. But then when that happens, I think we'll see the value. Well, the value's just going to steadily increase because it's deflationary. As more are mined and more interest is made, there's less to be found. And hold on, I did have a small amount, but went in on XRP. Yeah, XRP is another good one. That's another one of my long-term picks. I wouldn't say it's in my top 5, but it is one of my long-term picks. But anyway, enough rambling. It has been an hour and I'm keeping you guys. So let me do another chart. What do you guys want to see next? Oh my God, what, pal? Just kidding. I like that joke. All right. Here's another one that did exactly what we said it was going to do. See this arrow we drew? Had this coming down and finding support at this trend line. Found support. It's turning around. I don't think my bias has really changed. There's not a lot that I need to update on this one, to be totally honest, unless you have any questions. So far, it's doing exactly what we thought. It came back down and found support at this trend line. And now I think that we're probably on our way to the next leg up. That would be in accordance with the market structure that we're following here. It's also worth noting that this level that we found support at is a pretty heavy support zone. So that works out. The only thing that I would say is to watch for this area of resistance right here, because we may see it pop up and catch this area of resistance, come back down, tap the trend line again before going on. So don't panic if we see a pullback there. We might see like a 38.2 retracement or something off of this zone, and then have it tap this trend line again before continuing on. And then I'm leaning towards this break down this way, back to this support zone. But it's possible that we'll maintain this trend here. But OMG looking good for those that are in it. Let me tell you, OMG is a good one to have a lot of. OMG is a good one to have a lot of. I remember, I think I got my first entry on OMG around $4. And it would not surprise me at all if it hit 100. At all. If it's your biggest hold, Powell, I hope you're going to be sitting pretty if it hits 100. I'm sure you will be. I think OMG is one of the seriously undervalued coins. They're already in bed with McDonald's. You guys know how many are around there. All right, let's take a picture of this. Drop it. I've got time for one more before I've got to get back to cleaning. Kevin and I are working on the garage. Say hi, Kevin.
What's up, guys?
Kevin says hi. Any last requests, or you guys want me to pick one? Ooh, that is a good question. Let us take a look at, will it show me, nope, maybe here? No. Let me see. I don't think it'll give me a, man, I wish it would give me, nope, that's messy. All right, that's fine. We'll go here. Where is, oh, here we go, I think. Yeah. Oops. This isn't even, this is what I wanted. All right. So, all right, 1 second. Let me. Actually, I'll do all time. Sorry, I'm jumping all over the place. All right, so the one thing that I want to note for, actually, I'm sorry, that's not even what I want. Well, that's a different discussion, but let's just look at the market capitalization for the past year. And I can't draw on this. That's really annoying. I wish there was a place I could go. Anybody know of a place where I can go where I can actually get an interactive chart of the total market capitalization? It's really obnoxious. But anyway, you can see that there is a pretty strong trend here. And if we look at the total market capitalization, I guarantee that's a retracement level. I don't really have a way to measure it because the world hates me. But this right here is a retracement level. And we saw that at the start of February when things were really, towards the start of February and things were really crashing. And we caught support at that level. And so my thoughts for, we caught support on February 6th. And since then, it's just been steadily kind of moving back up. So my thoughts for March is that we're going to have a very good March. I think that we had this massive downward pattern, because you can imagine there's a trend line here too. All of this still applies. All of these trend lines still apply even with this chart. So we had a trend line that went along here. Wow, that's really obnoxious having that in the way. Hopefully you guys have been doing this long enough with me that you can kind of envision where I'm talking about here. So there was a trend line going down this way, and we had a break and retest of that trend line for the total market capitalization. And now we broke out of that downward trend. We popped up, we came back down, and this is still considered a retest right here. And so I think our next leg up is going to be new all-time highs. I'm talking, I mean, let me take a look closer again. I mean, 800 billion on the recovery. I mean, I think that we'll see at least 800 billion market cap by the end of March. We broke out of the downward trend, popped up, retested, and now it's consolidating. So as soon as this thing starts running, it's set to go back up into the 800s, which is where its all-time high was, 830. So I'm very bullish for March. Excuse me. I think we're finally going to see all of our open trades pay off. And if anybody is looking for anything to get into right now, I'm not doing a lot of calling because I know that most people are tapped out and just kind of waiting. If anybody does want me to help you find something to invest in, my door is always open. You can always message me and ask me, say, hey, I've got this amount in this exchange, and I would like somewhere to put it. And I'll work with you one-on-one to find something that works for you. Overall, though, I think March is going to be pretty exciting. All right, so we'll call that a wrap. Again, if anybody has any questions, please let me know. Give me some feedback if you don't mind in the chat, or direct message of how this Sunday time works for you. We didn't have quite as big of an audience as usual, but I would like to start finding times that encourage people to join, because it's obviously a lot more fun for everyone if there's a lot of questions being asked, and et cetera, et cetera. All right, guys, thank you very much. And as always, just let me know if you can't do the 8 p.m. during the week at all, Greg. Okay. I'll start doing the, it's 2 a.m. Jesus. All right. I forgot you were overseas. All right, so what time is it over there right now? 6 hours ahead? So is the 10 p.m. too late, Greg, to get started? Okay. So I'm gonna try to get in the habit of doing the 4 p.m. on Sunday then, and then one other one during the week, at the later time. So you can do 6 p.m. Eastern Standard during the week. Okay, I'll keep that in mind too. Thank you, Greg. Thank you, everyone else. And if you have any questions, just let me know.